Today we're in section 4.5, comparing and ordering fractions. The main thing that you need to know for this lesson is that we can't compare fractions that are not the same size. In order for them to be the same size, they have to have a common denominator. And we find the common denominator by listing the multiples of the denominator until we get to one that's common in both numbers. All right, so let's look first. Wrong slide. There we go. So let's look first at these two fractions, 7/10 and 3/4. And the book wants to know which one of these is the larger fraction. Well, I can't just look at it and say, oh, well, the 7's bigger than the 3, so it's bigger, because my denominators right now are not the same size. One is a 10 and one is a 4. So what I do is I start with the larger of the two denominators and I list my multiples. I can do this either mental math or I can do it off on the side of my paper. Does 4 go into 10? No, so now I'm going to go to my next multiple, which is 20. Does 4 go into 20? Yes, 4 does go into 20. So I know that 20 is my LCD. So I'm going to go ahead and make it my denominator in both fractions. Now, I need to make my numerator bigger by the same ratio. So I have to ask myself, what did I multiply 10 by to get to 20? 2. So since I multiplied 10 by 2, I also multiply 7 times 2 to get 14. I want you to try the second fraction. Finish making an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 20. All right, and what did you get? What did you get, guys? You multiplied 4 times 5 to get to 20, so 3 times 5 is 15. Now that you're comparing denominators that are the same size, you can clearly see that 15 is larger than 14. So a less than sign belongs in the blank. We always read these left to right, so the proper way to read it would be 14 over 20 is less than 15 over 20. Okay, so now we're going to apply that concept to ordering fractions using the LCD. I want you to write these 4 fractions down. 2/5, 3/8, 1/6, and 3/4. We want to compare these fractions. Which one is the smallest? But I can't just tell right off the bat because I do not have what? What don't I have? I don't have what? Common denominators. So I first have to figure out what is the smallest number that goes into all 4 numbers. Well, how do I start? I take the largest of the denominators, which is 8. You know what? There's a mistake here, though. Okay, the largest of the denominators, which is 8. Do all the numbers go into 8? No. So now I'm going to start listing multiples. You can do this either mental math or you can write it off on the side. I go 8, then 16. Do all the numbers go into 16? No. So keep going until you find an LCD and then go ahead and create all of your equivalent fractions. Alrighty. Okay, so my LCD is 24. Did you find that? Yes. Okay, 24. So now I go back and 3 times what number gives me 24? 8. So I have to multiply the top number by 8 to get 16. Alright, now I want you to go ahead and do the rest of them. Create the rest of your equivalent fractions. Okay, so on the second fraction, everybody look up here. Look up at the screen. I want to see eyeballs. Eyeballs. Okay, 8 times what number equals 24? 8 times what, guys? 3. Very good. So 3 times 3 is 9. All right. 6 times 4 is 24. So 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. So 3 times 6, didn't mean to put them all up there, is 18. 3 times 6 is 18. So now I have all of my equivalent fractions, and now I can look at my denominators and see which one is the smallest. Which one's the smallest, guys? The smallest numerator. It is what? It's 4 over 24. So I'm going to look back and I'm going to write the 4 over 24 in its original format down here in my answer. All right, so I need to make sure that I write it in its original format in my answer. So now which one's the second smallest?
9.
But which is what in its original form? 3/8. What's the next smallest? Okay, 16 over 24, which is what? 2/3. And then my biggest one is 3/4. Okay, so make sure, guys, you use this step that I've written in green, okay, as a way to compare them. But when you write them in your answer, you need to make sure that you write them in their original format. All right, any questions? Think you can do one? Okay, so I want you to do page 182. Your turn now, numbers 2 and 5. Okay, so you're comparing and ordering these fractions. All right, so LCD on number 2 is 30. So again, 6 times what is 30? You have it on your paper, 6 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. 10 times 3 is 30. So 9 times 3 is 27. The answer is less than. Now on number 5, what is your LCD? 28 is your LCD. Now I've seen that some of you did 56. Technically, 56 is a common denominator and you can get to your answer and that is fine. However, it's not the LCD. The LCD is 28. Okay, so now 14 times 2 is 28, so 9 times 2 is 18. All right, so what did I multiply each denominator by? I have to multiply the numerators by the same number. Okay, so which number goes first in my answer? Which fraction goes first, guys? 5 over 28, original format. Which number goes second? 9/14. Which number third? And then 3/4. All right, like I said, if you had 56 as your denominator, you still, as long as you created the equivalent fractions, should have still ended up with this answer, and that would be okay. All right, so just, you do want to try to find the LCD, but if you miss it, you can still get the right answer. All right, let's see. If you understand that, I believe that's everything you need to know for 4.5. Yes, it is.